Alrighty, so first thing we're going to be doing is making, you know what? I missed something. I'm sorry, let me go back. I got ahead of myself. Hang on. Hang on, I'm going to leave that the way it is and show you this because I did want to show you some more pictures. These pictures. Now we've talked about making greens before. We've done that a couple times, and we make our greens with the blues and the yellows. And remember, viridian counts as a blue. So viridian, cerulean, and ultramarine count as blues. And cadmium orange, cadmium yellow medium, and cadmium yellow light count as yellows. So that's kind of the way I've got my palette laid out here. Here are my blues, all in through here. These are blues. We think of viridian as a green, but it's actually a blue functionally. And these are our yellows, this group right here. The reds, we use the reds to tone them down. If it's too bright, or if it's too bright and we want to gray it down, we'll use the reds. So blues and yellows make green, reds tone it down. Now, one of the things I found when I'm painting outside is that when I am painting outside in the spring, I tend to use a lot of viridian and a lot of cadmium yellow light. So these are both made out of viridian and cadmium yellow light, but you can see that this one that's more in the distance is a little lighter. And you can see that this one that's closer to us is a little warmer and a little darker. Now these two colors are for the grass that was brownish. It was areas of the hill that were brownish. And you can see again that in the distance it's a little cooler and a little lighter. And in the foreground it's a little warmer and a little stronger color. Now it's not a real in-your-face shift, but it's important. I find that in the fall, I use more orange. These still look like fields. They look like grassy fields, but you see how they're an orange color. All three of them are. This one is in the distance. It's a little more pale. This one's in the middle ground. It's got a little more color to it. And this one's in the foreground. It's got even stronger color. So the reason I'm showing you all this is because our next exercise that we'll be doing has to do with atmospheric perspective, and it has to do with mixing the greens. I painted this while I was with Arlene over in New Mexico, and I found that while I'm in the West, I use a lot of red. So even this green saguaro tree has so much red reflected back up into it from the soil that this part of it right here actually looks brown. And this little prickly pear in the foreground, see how brown that looks. And then the light on the top plane of this mountain in the background looks grayish brown. It's a paler because it's in the distance. You see how it's a little paler and cooler. And these are warmer and brighter because they're in the foreground. Now our exercise is going to have to do with how to make that happen. So we'll do it with viridian because it's springtime. And let me get my other share going. Sorry I got ahead of myself, but I wanted to show that to you.
Gail, do we need the full palette today?
Yeah. Yes, you will need the whole palette. And
the whole Boston palette, to be clear.
You're going to need the Boston School palette. You won't need your brown. But
I don't have
I think
any
brown. Okay, good. When Scott was talking to you all, you asked, what do I need to have? And he said, you need to have paint. Well, that's what I refer to. This palette laid out in this way when I say you need to have your paint. And if you haven't done that yet, do it now, except for the watercolorist. You do have a different situation. But I love you anyway. So what I want you to do is be prepared to do this with me, and if you need some time, unmute yourself and tell me that you need some time. You
I
good?
haven't done my palette yet, but I can watch you do the demo and then do it, or I can do it now. It's your
You're
choice.
going to do the demo along with me. So for now, this demo, the first things you should have out are Viridian, Cerulean, white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow medium,
How
and
big of
cadmium orange.
excuse me, Gail. How big of a canvas do we need for this?
Well, what you'll be doing, what I want you to do is to make a little gradation on your palette and then transfer that gradation to some kind of a canvas that's, the gradation is going to be about this long. So in terms of inches, let's see if I can read this. I don't know. Let me see about, this is a 9 by 12. So probably a 9 by 12. And then we'll do another little exercise here. So yeah, I guess a 9 by 12.
Let's work on Arches wallpaper.
Yeah, you can use it. You can do it on paper. Because this is really just about color.
Would you run over the colors again that you've got on your palette?
Yeah.
So I can translate.
Yeah, cerulean blue, which is going to be a greenish blue, like
Right.
phthalo blue or something. Viridian.
Right.
Cadmium yellow light, that's a lemony yellow.
Right.
Cadmium yellow medium, which is more of a stop sign colored yellow. And then cadmium orange.
Okay, and what's your third blue? Or didn't you say a third blue?
For this right now, it's just those two blues. But
Okay.
for later, for when we do the tulip exercise, you'll also need ultramarine blue.
Okay.
And you will need these three reds, cadmium red light, cadmium red deep, and alizarin crimson, a purplish red of some sort.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? I'm going to mute again. Somebody's echoing. Okay, so exercise that we're going to do today, we've done other green exercises, but this one is specifically about showing atmospheric regression, how to show the color getting warmer as it gets closer to you and cooler as it gets farther away. So I will do this and then I'll do it again with you, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is get some of my cadmium yellow light to have a mid-tone spring green, and put my Viridian beside it and begin to mix them together until I don't just plop one into the other because I don't know how much I have of each. I begin to mix them together and to have what looks to me like a pretty spring green. I'm going to do this once and then I'll do it again. I think I'll zoom in a little bit too. Okay. Now to make this look like it's closer to us, what I'm going to do with part of it is I'm going to add some more yellow. And then I'll add a little bit of my warmer yellow, because to get things to come closer, we need them to be warmer. The way this palette is laid out, the coolest colors are on this side, the warmer colors are on this side. This is cool. White is cool. This particular type of white, the titanium white, has blue in it, and that's why it belongs with this batch of color right here. This is the coolest yellow. The colors get warmer as they go toward orange. Our warmest colors are these two right in here, these oranges, and then they get cool again as they get more toward the purplish red. So it goes from cool through warm through cool again. So in two warm things, if we're starting with this cooler yellow and we want it to get warmer, we'll begin to add some of this one. So you see how that's what I'm doing here. I'm warming it by adding, it's not a real in-your-face change, but this is slightly warmer than that one. And then to get it a little warmer still, I add more of this warmer yellow. And I want to get it brighter also, so I add more of the Viridian. See how this is warmer and brighter. Now that Viridian is cool, so if I add too much Viridian, I have to re-add some more of the yellow. So we want it warmer and brighter, and then to get it even warmer and brighter, we'll go over to the orange and add some of that, and more Viridian. If I add too much Viridian, all of a sudden it's turned back to a cool green again. So I add some more orange to warm it. I'm looking for kind of a warmish olive. And I think this is abruptly a little bit too dark, so I'll fix that by adding my warm yellow. I'll make it so it's not quite so dark. It'll be a strong color, but it won't look like it's a different color. Now, the way I want this to look on your palette and on your canvas, I don't want it to look like it's separated. I want these colors to be kind of worked in together, because that's the way you're going to do it on your painting. You're not going to have stripes on your painting, so I don't want stripes on your exercise either. I want you to get used to having it be like that. So here's my mid-tone spring green. We've gotten warmer here. This is going to be in the foreground, going this direction. Now let's see what to do to get it to go in the background. I'm going to add a little white to this color going this direction. Now remember, I want to cool things, so I want to go like, here's my Viridian. This one is a little cooler than this, because remember, this direction we're going cooler. So here, by adding white, I cooled it. To cool it even more, I'm going to add a little bit of this cerulean blue to have it be further in the distance. Don't want to get it darker though, so if I have enough cerulean blue that it gets darker, I need to add some more white. So you see how this is warmer, it's going to look closer to us, and it gradually gets lighter and cooler as we go further away. Another way to lighten things, another way to cool things and make them look more distant is to gray them down. And the way to gray down a green is to add red. Now the trick with that is add just a tiny bit of red, because otherwise you're going to be making it red, and red comes forward. This may be too much red right here. It sure is. There's a molecule of red and it was too much. So when you've gone too far,
Which red was that?
this was cadmium red deep.
Thank you.
And the reason I used cadmium red deep is because if you look at the color wheel, this is the Viridian. Cadmium red deep is directly opposite the Viridian. So in order to cancel out Viridian, we add just a molecule of cadmium red deep. So, but it is so strong, and I added too much, so I had to scrape this off, because there's no way you can fix it once you've got too much cadmium red. So I'll try again, making this little yellow with the Viridian and the cadmium yellow light. Now I'll add some white to cool it. And then to neutralize that Viridian, you really hardly need to add any red. But
Gail, is there any way you can switch cameras to make the palette the large camera?
it's not, I'm not the one that does that. You're the one that does that. On your tablet, if you see the image, if you see the palette looking small in the corner, just touch that and it'll get big.
That's for all of us?
Yeah, all of you. You have control over that.
Now, for people that are on desktops, you can move the slider in the split screen view.
Yeah, that was too easy. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, you see how this red is just dulling out that green, so it's turning into more of a gray? So you can cool it by adding a blue, if that's what you see when you're painting outside, or if that's what you see in your reference. Or you can cool it by adding just the slightest molecule of red, which will make it more gray. You see those two? To me, the red is the trickier way to do it because it's so easy to make it warmer. To me, this looks a little warmer than this one. I prefer to add blue and white to cool things, but this is another way to do it. So I did that. Now I'm going to do it again, and I want you all to do it with me. I'm going to do a second one right beside this first one. Clean off my palette. I'll leave this one here, but I'm cleaning this off so it's not getting in the way. So first make a mid-tone green. You know, I put out a lot of cadmium yellow pale and I still need more. I wonder if that's one of those things you'll use up whatever you put down on what. It's like when they build highways. If they build a highway to carry 80 cars a second, before they're even done building the highway, you'll have 100 cars a second trying to get on that road.
Gail, would you mind going over the colors again for the mid-tone green? It looks like it's Viridian and cadmium red.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing the whole thing over again right now. That's what I'm doing. So I had to put out some more cadmium yellow light in order to do it. So here's the cadmium yellow light right here. And I'm going to add Viridian, but I'm going to put the Viridian beside it. And then pull them together like this. So I get a nice spring green. That looks like a nice spring green to me. Now I want to be able to see all of you. Let's see how I can do that. Now, in order to warm this, remember this color is viridian and cadmium yellow light. So in order to warm it and make it brighter, I'm going to add this warmer yellow and some more viridian. So I'll pick the warmer yellow, put it here, get some more viridian, put it here, and I'll make a slightly warmer version of a green. Leah, your spring green looks good. Teresa, you can use a little bit more green, a little bit more viridian. Diane, yours looks fine. Jimmy, you need a little more viridian in both of yours.
Yeah, I started with too much viridian and overpowered everything, so I had to add more yellow.
Yeah, it's a matter of going back and forth till you have it right.
So Gail, do you want us to put it on our campus?
Not yet.
Okay, so
We'll get it all mixed and then we'll transfer it. Okay, I'm going to do the next warmer one. If you're not ready, unmute yourself and tell me to wait, okay? Are you okay with doing the next one? All right. So the next one is going to be some more of this warm yellow and a little bit of the orange and some more viridian. And when you have those, blend them together. I think I've got this one a little too warm, so I'm going to take some of it off and reincorporate some more of the yellow and viridian. I got too much orange in it, I think, because it stopped looking like it belonged in the same painting as the other ones. This looks better. All right, so we've worked our way from our mid-tone green to our foreground green. And when you're ready, we're going to work our way into the distance. So I'll give you a minute.
The last combo, I was reloading my palette.
Yeah,
That's more
this
viridian.
last one, this closest one is cadmium yellow medium with a little bit of the orange and some more viridian. If you go too far, it'll wind up looking too much like olive, like mine did. So I scraped part of it off and tried again.
I'm going to send you well, I can't. I was going to send you a text, but my phone's in use.
Well, just hold it up. You still can use more viridian in that warmer one. And Les, tell me about your lighting. What are you using for lighting?
I'm just in natural light right now.
Okay, all right, then it's accurate. Then you need a little bit more Viridian in those mixtures. Okay, Teresa? Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Teresa, if you can see Leah's example up there, can you see it? You probably can't, can you? I guess you can't. I can see stuff that you can't see, so never mind. My bad. Okay, Jimmy, that looks good now. Carol, you're already putting it on a paper, and what I'd rather have is what I want to have ultimately, whether it's on your paper or whatever, I want to have a gradation rather than blocks of color. So you can have blocks, but do a gradation as well, because that's the way we're going to be painting with it. We don't want stripes on our painting. So I understand about the blocks, but I'd like a gradation as well. Okay, so I'm going to move to how to make it cooler. Does anybody need more time? Okay, here we go. To make it cooler, the first thing I do is I just take parts mid-tone green and add some white to it. That's the first thing to do. That'll cool it right there. It makes it lighter, it makes it less intense, and it makes it cooler.
Your midtone is the very first green you put on there, right?
Yeah, that very first one. Yeah.
So like, okay, Gail?
Yeah. It's too much of a jump. Have it be a little bit more gradual than that.
Okay, I can do that.
Yep. Yeah, Teresa, that looks good. That's excellent.
Gail,
Yeah.
yours looks bluer.
If yours looks too yellow, it's kind of hard for me to see it because it's backlit. But if mine looks bluer than yours, what does that mean you need to do?
Put some Viridian in it, I guess.
You need to add more of your blue. And remember, the white is also blue. So the Viridian and the white, whichever, that's the blue we're working with right now. So
All right.
if yours looks too yellow to you, just that's what to do.
Okay.
Gail?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, that's more gradual. Yeah.
Did you say titanium white was a blue?
Yeah, it is.
Has blue in it?
It's just a pigment which is naturally somewhat blue. It's a good pigment because it's so opaque, but it also is a little bit blue, so take that into account when you're using it, you know?
It's the only wet I own, actually.
Okay, I'm going to go to the last one. If you're not ready, holler at me. So the lightest, most distant has even more white added to your green. And then how do we make it even cooler? We work our way from the white past the Viridian to this blue, the next blue in line. And we add it. Now, if that makes it dark, we'll have to go back to even more white. You see how that's looking a little dark? So I'll add a little more white.
Did you go into cerulean or did you stay in Viridian?
No, we're getting a little bit cooler than Viridian, so we're moving over one. If you've got your palette laid out like this, which I really hope you have, if you don't, do it now. Because that's how you tell when you're going toward cooler. You go this direction. You go clockwise to get cooler, counterclockwise to get warmer.
So Gail,
Oops, sorry, Jimmy, I just muted everybody. What did you unmute again?
oh, I was going to say I missed where you added it, but it looks like you added it to the white gradation.
Yeah, this direction, because this is what we're doing is this is closer, this is farther away. And the reason for that is that ordinarily in your painting, what's closer is going to be closer to the bottom of your painting, and what's farther away is going to be closer to the top of your painting. That's usually going to be the case. So we're doing it that way with this chart too. Teresa, I think your lights are a little bit too white.
Okay.
They shouldn't all of a sudden go to white. They should be more like a cool bluish gray. And once you have all those colors on your palette, I want you to mix them together so they're not in discrete. Make it so it's a gradation so that these places where it's separated, it's not separated anymore. See how I'm doing it on mine? I'm kind of bringing together these variations so that it's more subtle. Because that's the way it'll be on your painting, and that's the way it is in nature. It doesn't hit you over the head with these stripes of change. And once you have it like that, then put it on your canvas the same way. Just transfer it over.
What did you mean by what you just said? Transfer it over onto your canvas.
Yeah, pick it up. Pick up each of these colors,
Oh, okay.
put them over onto the canvas, and kind of blend them as you go, so you don't have spots or stripes of color. I don't want blocks of color in this case. I want to have a gradation.
All right.
And here's how I'm doing it. I'm just kind of doing it and then kind of scraping them like that.
Yeah.
Now this is atmospheric regression is what we're working with here. So I've made my transition. And it's on my, this is on my canvas. I took it directly from my palette and just moved it over to the canvas a piece at a time. So I'm going to watch you now. Let's switch to this. There we are.
Gail,
Yeah,
can you see mine?
yeah, Joanne, that looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, when you have yours done, hold it up so I can see it. Okay. Teresa, that's excellent. That's really nice. Leah, I'm sure this is a tricky thing with watercolor, but the added the cerulean and it got dark again. Do you have cerulean or are you using phthalo? Okay.
Let me see if I can water it down a bit.
Okay. Okay. What we're dealing with here is temperature, color temperature along with intensity. Jimmy, that looks good. There's too much of a jump between your mid-tone green and the next one down. Diane, yours doesn't have enough yellow in it now at all.
Blend it a little better.
Yeah. Lois, I think your mid-tone green. Lois, I am not getting a sense of atmospheric regression on yours. I just have a bunch of greens that don't seem to have atmospheric regression. Unmute yourself. I've got you muted.
Yeah, I think I'm struggling with Viridian because I've never used Viridian much before.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I'll do this for today, but then in the future, I think I can get a better range with, it'll work better for me with cerulean
Okay.
to get the,
As far as the that last color, then, if you're using cerulean, use a slightly cooler green for that last a slightly cooler blue for that last most distant gray green. Okay.
So how we can't add white to cool the pale color.
Just
So
use water.
If we
just use water.
Oh, okay. So it's not that we're changing we're just changing the value more than the.
Yeah, at that point. And the paper, if you're using a white paper rather than an ivory paper, the paper will do the same thing that the white
Right.
paint would have done.
Okay. Okay. well, let me try this with, so I've got a green, I've done a green chart. I don't know if you could see this.
Yeah, I see it.
So I have an
Yeah,
old-
you've got a lot of greens, but I want to see this particular chart done with the atmospheric regression.
Right, right. But I pulled this out to see if cerulean didn't give me a better range, but it just may be me personally that's struggling with that.
Okay. Diane, you need more yellow. Jimmy, it's looking pretty good on yours, but I don't see a real change from the warmer green to the cooler green. They're all looking quite similar to me.
Yeah, I can see
Diane,
it.
Diane, yours is still way too, are you using Viridian or are you using Phthalo, Diane? Okay, then you're doing right. You're just using too much of it.
Can you see mine, Gail?
Yeah. Hold it up to the camera a little better. I still only see 2 greens and a yellow. Is that what you've got on there? Heather, unmute yourself.
I think you can tell. I tried to wipe the beginning off and it's all yellow. I think I start out with much too much yellow. This is almost white. This is a blue white. Down here is olive. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different colors.
Oh, okay. You just made it really small.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks to me like there's a dark one toward the bottom and then it gets light and then it gets dark again. It shouldn't do that. You
It
see how
does.
on mine it goes from dark to light?
Yeah.
So do it again and make it do that.
Okay.
Is mine okay, Gail?
Hold it up a little bit. It just needs to be a little bit higher so I can see the bottom. No, the 2 that are supposed to be light, the ones that are supposed to be in the distance, they need a lot more white in them.
Okay.
Gail, better?
Yeah, yeah, that's good, Jimmy. Carol, yours looks good now.
I'm gonna try a different lighting.
Okay.
My
It just
light
looks awfully blue to me.
still?
Yeah, especially that one on the top that's supposed to be in the most distant, it looks just blue. It doesn't look like a grayish, you see how mine looks like a grayish, pale blue-green, really pale? Let me zoom in more on mine.
I had trouble with that color.
You need to add a lot more white than you're adding, I think.
Okay.
I need to do, I need to change this. It's about like this.
All I'm getting is a mint color.
Yeah, that's because you need to add more yellow and more white. You've got too much of the blue in it. Melanie, that works. That looks good. Joanne, how's yours doing?
I thought I showed it to you.
You did, yeah, okay, it's good.
Oh, I have it upside down. Sorry.
Yeah, I realized that, I recognized it, yeah, that works. I guess it's Thayer that I haven't talked to. Thayer, how's yours doing?
I think I have having a little trouble with the gradation part.
Okay,
I've got the pale yellow and then the medium yellow, and I didn't know if I was supposed to add the gradient to both of those greens.
well, the ones that are supposed to come closer to us, can you see my chart right here with my hands?
Yeah,
Okay, these come closer to us and these go farther away.
yeah.
The only ones that have the medium yellow are the ones that are coming closer to us.
So medium
And then-
yellow is made from what exactly?
The medium yellow is just cadmium yellow medium.
Oh, okay.
Cadmium
Sure.
yellow light is for the medium green and everything that goes into the distance. Cadmium yellow medium, and at the very closest, a little bit of cadmium orange. Those bring it closer to us. So,
Sure. Yeah.
okay, and then to go farther away, you have just add white,
Okay.
and then add a little bit more white with some cerulean.
I now remember some of the earlier lessons from way back a long time ago.
Yeah,
I was trying to do it according to how I made the palette, and I messed up.
oh, okay.
Yeah, good.
I don't know.
Diane, that's looking a little better, but it's, now I'm seeing a dark in the middle. It's supposed to be, you see how mine is? Try to make it look as close to mine as you can. It's supposed to go from darker and then gradually lighter without having anything dark in the middle. You have a dark one in the middle.
I do? Huh.
Maybe it's just a shadow or a reflection, but it looks like there's darkness in the middle.
Huh.
Gail, would you like us to start transferring over the cooler gradation?
Transfer all the gradation over to your canvas so you can keep it and label it, and do label it. Write down on there what that is. And while everybody finishes up, we'll take a break because everybody is at different stages. So for 10 minutes, I'm going to take a little break, and while you all finish up, and then we'll have another exercise after the break.